Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to speak to you today and introduce to you the Industry Accelerator, which is actually sort of the younger member of the family of the accelerators, because we've been launched only in April this year. So we have a lot that we have been learning also from the colleagues in the other accelerators in shaping up our interventions and our focus. Just to give you basically the setting of why industry matters. So industry consumes 1/3 of the energy. It also contributes for 1/3 of the emissions, sort of. So it's a large sector, and it is a sector that is growing at an alarming rate that is even higher than other sectors, including transport. I don't want to trigger discussions or debates here with Sheila, but I think, yeah, industry is a very significant consumer. And on the other side, also the potential in industry is also significantly high. So you can see that we can already achieve around 25% better efficiency in industry, which would in its own kind of reduce the global energy demand by around 8% and the emissions globally by 12.4%. So when we were trying to define the intervention for the Industry Accelerator, we were looking into what are the high opportunity areas. So obviously we have selected to go for the large and energy intensive industries in all of the countries. And in sort of setting a target for ourselves, we said we will want to target around 50% of the large industries and around 25% of the SMEs. And we want to distinguish really between SMEs and industries, because while UNIDO, IIP are two of the co-leads of the accelerator, our third co-lead is TERI from India, and we all know the significance of the SME sector in India. Now, to achieve this objective and contribute to doubling the rate of energy efficiencies, particularly in the industrial sector, what we are trying to push through is 100% implementation of energy management systems in those large and small and medium-sized enterprises. I'd like to also take a minute to explain for those of you maybe who might not be aware of the concept of energy management. So energy management systems is something, it's a concept in line with the ISO 50001. Maybe more of you might have heard about that as a standard for energy management. And what it is really is it helps enterprises, but also buildings and all other users, to set a framework for managing their energy consumption in a way that they will continually want to improve their energy efficiency. So usually we are starting off with low and no cost measures and then eventually moving on towards more costly technologies, even going up to implementing renewable energy. So it's really about creating a culture within the enterprises for energy management, and it takes a lot of awareness and a lot of capacity building at the country level in order to achieve that. Now, in terms of the structure, I already mentioned to you, so the co-leads of the accelerator are UNIDO, together with the Institute for Industrial Productivity and TERI, but we also have a number of other partners that support us in running what we call the Strategy Committee, and this includes the Carbon Trust, USDOE, the Energy Management Working Group, as well as some private sector companies such as Schneider Electric and Dow Chemicals. In addition to that, at the country level, we do have different stakeholders, mostly ministries of industry or ministries of energy, as well as NGOs and financial institutions and all that. So these are typically the partners that we work together with at the global as well as at the national level. every accelerator spoke about commitments, and we saw 2 accelerators that focus more on the city level commitments, but in the industry, considering the particularity of industry and also the different way in structuring industries in the different countries, we have different levels of commitment, or we're seeking differentiated responsibilities from all of the different partners. So from the government, we're looking to kind of get their commitments to implement policies that would advocate for energy efficiency in the industrial sector. From the financial institutions, to put in place some credit lines that do fulfill the requirements for energy efficiency in the industrial sector. From the utilities, obviously that they would go and actively engage in programs that would attract industries to be interested in energy efficiency. And then you have the sectoral associations, which can also play a key role in getting engagement from industries, and that's actually quite a successful model that has been employed in various countries around Europe. And then finally, I would say also at the industrial level, so we're seeking industries to actually commit and say, yes, we want to work and implement energy management systems. What does the accelerator offer to those different parties that we are asking them to commit? So we have, as you have seen from the dynamics of the partners we have, we complement each other in so many different ways. Some are very strong on the policy support that is, and some others are stronger on providing tools and so on that could be replicated within our programs. Maybe the area that needs to be kind of re-emitted from this accelerator is the financing, especially now considering that there is a financing accelerator that would be running. So we would consider this something that should be more, in line with whatever the financing accelerator would be proposing. So all these, we have been gathering all of the tools, and I mean, for example, IIP, they have a great database on policies, which we are also trying to work on together. So we want to work on leveraging all these tools that we have and working on spreading them into different countries. Now, what I thought I would also like to present to you is, where do we stand? I mean, brilliant, that's what the accelerator stands for, that it's what it advocates, but where do we stand? At UNIDO, we do have a program that is running in around 14 countries around the world that actually advocates for energy management. So we actually have a program in Indonesia, we have a program in Russia, we have a program in South Africa. So we have around the world a number of programs that, we have companies that are committing, we have countries that are committing within that. In addition, we work very closely with IIP and with Terry on putting up 2 new pilots, one for China and one for India. Now, in moving ahead, what we are trying to build on is we have regional centers for renewable energy and energy efficiency in different parts of the world. And one of the first centers was set up in ECOWAS. And through ECRI, we are now working on developing a regional framework for industrial energy efficiency, from which we can then move into country-level interventions within the region. And this center is now going to be opening up in the SADC region, in the Caribbean as well, in small island states. So we are replicating the center, and at the same time we would like to make sure that from the very beginning, unlike the ECOWAS region, so from the very beginning we want to make sure that there is this regional framework for energy efficiency that we could use to leverage the activities of the accelerator. One last point is about the COP. So as I said, we have these engagements in all the countries. So we are trying to bring in, through the UNIDO program, we are trying to bring in at least 100 companies from developing countries that would endorse the We Commit campaign, at least to qualitatively support energy efficiency, while we would be, as an agency, responsible for the quantitative achievement of the reductions required from the 100 countries. I think that's about it for what I want to say, but I'm going to hand over to Jigar for his remarks.
Thank you very much, Rana. So you can look at my presence here in this panel in one of two ways. Either industry is so difficult that they had to double team me with Rana, or Rana with me, or you can say that I am the token male on this panel. Thomas is the facilitator, of course. I'm just one. I want to pick up from where Monica talked about the 3 S's this morning: smart, speedy, and scalability. And just talk about a couple of challenges that the Industry Accelerator and industry energy efficiency in general faces. This whole issue, and Jennifer talked about it, and several of our colleagues talked about this earlier, is this whole problem with regard to data, baselines, benchmarks. This is a particularly difficult thing in industry, and you may have seen last week the report where it was stated that China's coal consumption was misstated. It's actually 17% higher than what it was. And then subsequently, if you read further, it said that this was attributable mostly to industry, the small and medium industry, which were taken to be closed or out of business, but they were still operating. And so there is a significant, just in general, a problem with regard to establishing good benchmarks, baselines, just understanding numbers. Not even getting as far as monitoring and enforcement, verification and enforcement, but just the whole idea about data. And so this is one. The second big problem is with regard to energy management systems and ISO 50001 and such standards, is lack of skill sets. Again, taking China as an example, it has a requirement for their top 10,000 industries to practice energy management systems. But there is really no understanding outside of the experts that UNIDO uses, we use, and some of the other big corporations, multinationals have internally on really how is this thing done. The energy management systems is not just audits. It's just a lot of cultural behavior changes. It's tools, it's technology, it's follow-through, it's measurements, monitoring, etc. And so how is all this started? How is it done in companies? And how can governments promote it? How can regions, states, provinces promote it, etc.? So that's a big challenge. And then the last thing is, if you look at sort of the recent attention in both industry and government, it's in many ways very far away from energy efficiency or the kinds of things we are talking about. In industry, especially the heavy industries, there is a major problem with regard to overcapacity. So if you listen to, or if you watch BBC News today, the headline was that the steel industry in UK is going to go out of business because the Chinese exports are really taking over all the steel in UK. If you look at what's happening in China, the most serious concern is overcapacity in the steel industry. I mean, that's partly why the export drive is even more fierce right now. But even in China, the most significant problem that's being talked about right now with regard to industry is overcapacity in 50% of the industry, cement, steel, all of that. If you switch to governments, Europe, US, all of the countries, developing countries, so on, a lot of the discussion is around jobs and competitiveness. So I think these are some of the things that we have to sort of deal with even as we are promoting what is the right thing, which is the energy management systems. Okay, thank you.